Imagine sitting in a grand public bathhouse in ancient Rome. You are surrounded by beautiful marble pillars, warm water, and lively conversation. Suddenly, you need to use the bathroom. You take a seat on a stone bench next to dozens of strangers. There are no stalls, no doors, and no privacy. But the real surprise comes when you finish. You look down for something to clean yourself with. You do not see soft paper. Instead, you see a wooden stick with an ocean sponge attached to the end, sitting in a bucket of dirty salt water. You use it, rinse it in the bucket, and pass it directly to the person sitting next to you. That was daily life in one of the greatest empires in human history. For thousands of years, humans solved one of our most basic physical needs with whatever was lying around. Ancient Greeks used smooth rocks and broken pieces of pottery. Wealthy medieval lords used soft wool and lace. Farmers used dry corn cobs, moss, and old leaves. In early America, people hung popular shopping catalogs in outdoor toilets so they could read a page and then wipe with it. Yet today, toilet paper is an absolute necessity. It is a multi-billion-dollar global industry, and when a crisis happens, people panic and buy every roll in sight. How did humanity transform from sharing a wet sponge on a stick to fighting over soft paper rolls in grocery store aisles? To understand why this happened, we have to go back in time. The story of paper hygiene actually began in ancient China. While Europeans were still using rocks and leaves, Chinese scholars in the 6th century were already writing about using paper for personal cleanliness. By the 14th century, the Chinese imperial court was ordering millions of sheets of specially scented paper every year. These sheets were soft, large, and made specifically for the royal family. However, the rest of the world refused to follow their lead for hundreds of years. In Western countries, paper was far too expensive to throw away after a single use. People used paper for writing letters, printing books, and keeping business records. The idea of using valuable paper for bathroom hygiene sounded like absolute madness to average people. Instead, societies improvised based on what their local environment provided. In coastal regions, people used seashell edges. In colder climates, they used snow. In North America, early settlers relied heavily on corn cobs because they were soft, cheap, and abundant after the harvest. Then came the printing revolution. As newspapers and mail-order catalogs became cheap and widely available in the 19th century, people found a clever new use for them. They poked a hole in the corner of the catalog, hung it on a nail inside their outhouse, and used the pages one by one. The famous Sears catalog became so popular for this purpose that when the company started printing on smooth, glossy paper in the 1930s, thousands of customers wrote angry letters complaining that the new pages were useless in the bathroom. It sounded like a free, simple solution for everyone. But that wasn't the strangest part. The real problem was that nobody wanted to buy a product made specifically for the toilet. In 1857, an American inventor named Joseph Gayetty decided to change the world. He created the very first manufactured toilet paper. It consisted of flat sheets made from hemp fibers, infused with soothing aloe vera. He called it medicated paper for the water closet. He was so proud of his invention that he printed his own name on every single sheet. Gayetty believed he was solving a major health issue. But his plan failed miserably. First, his product was extremely expensive. A single pack cost 50 cents, which was equal to half a day of hard labor for an average worker. Most people looked at the price and decided to stick with free corn cobs and newspapers. Second, Victorian society was extremely conservative and shy. People were deeply embarrassed to discuss anything related to the bathroom. Walking into a store and asking a clerk for toilet paper was seen as shameful. Customers were too uncomfortable to even say the words out loud. That should have killed the idea entirely. Instead, two major developments turned toilet paper into an unstoppable global movement. The first turning point was a technological revolution: indoor plumbing. In the late 19th century, cities began building complex underground pipe systems. Suddenly, people were moving their bathrooms inside their homes. But indoor toilets created a brand new disaster. When people tried to flush old newspapers, heavy catalog pages, or cloth rags down their new porcelain toilets, the pipes clogged instantly. Cities faced massive plumbing nightmares. Homeowners desperately needed a thin, delicate material that would dissolve quickly in water without ruining their expensive plumbing systems. The second breakthrough came from two brothers named Clarence and Edward Scott. In 1890, they realized that people did not want flat, medical sheets. They wanted convenient rolls of perforated paper with small rows of tiny holes that made it easy to tear off individual sheets. To overcome the awkwardness of buying the product, the Scott brothers used a clever strategy. They produced rolls without putting their own brand name on them. Instead, they sold the rolls directly to hotels and pharmacies, allowing those businesses to put their own custom labels on the packaging. Customers felt much more comfortable buying a generic household item than an explicit bathroom product. By the early 20th century, toilet paper was becoming a standard item in middle-class homes across Western nations. But early manufacturers still faced a painful manufacturing challenge that sounds unthinkable today: wooden splinters. Because early paper manufacturing techniques were still crude, small bits of wood frequently remained embedded in the paper sheets. Using toilet paper in the early 1900s could literally be a painful experience. It was not until the 1930s that companies perfected their production techniques and proudly advertised their product as officially splinter-free. If you are enjoying this deep dive into history and want to improve your English while learning incredible stories, make sure to subscribe to Origin Stories. We share hidden chapters of history every week. Now, back to our story. Once toilet paper became soft, affordable, and essential for modern plumbing, something strange happened to the human mind. The product transformed from a simple convenience into a psychological security blanket. Because toilet paper is a large, bulky item that takes up a lot of space on store shelves, any small delay in the supply chain creates empty shelves almost instantly. When people see empty shelves, panic spreads quickly. In December 1973, a famous American late-night television host made a light-hearted joke during his monologue, saying that there was a nationwide shortage of toilet paper. He was only joking, but millions of viewers took him seriously. The very next morning, millions of citizens rushed to stores and bought every single roll they could find. They created a real, massive shortage out of absolutely nothing, simply because they feared running out. Decades later, during global events in 2020, history repeated itself in almost the exact same way. Today, toilet paper is a multi-billion-dollar global industry. Modern factories produce millions of rolls every day, using advanced machinery to create double layers, quilted textures, and lotion-infused sheets for maximum comfort. Yet, looking at the entire world today reveals a fascinating cultural divide. While Western nations consume massive amounts of paper every year, billions of people across Asia, the Middle East, and Southern Europe prefer using water through bidets or sprayers. Many hygiene experts actually argue that water is cleaner, healthier, and far better for the environment than cutting down trees to make disposable paper. When you look back at the entire history, the journey of toilet paper is truly remarkable. Humanity started with shared sponges on sticks, moved to smooth rocks, depended on corn cobs and shopping catalogs, suffered through wooden splinters, and finally created the ultra-soft rolls sitting in our modern bathrooms today. It is a story that proves how quickly a luxury can become a habit, and how a habit can become something we feel we cannot survive without. The next time you grab a simple sheet of paper, remember that you are holding the result of thousands of years of human trial, error, and invention. What surprised you the most about this story? Let me know in the comments below, and check out another hidden chapter of history on our channel.